make in the States, and today we have, well, actually a very avidly requested video. This is my 1977 Greco EG-500, and what this represents actually is the start of the madness, the evilness, the horrible copyright and violating, American business stealing insanity that is Gibson Les Paul copies. They had made Les Paul copies before in the 70s, but they always had a bolt neck with brands like Univox, and I think even older Ibanez and older Grecos and whatnot. But when this guy came along in late 75, early 76, they came out with multiple ones of the line, and what they did was they went after the real deal. So it's a set neck, not a bolt neck. Ironically, they really went after the real deal because Gibson, during the Norlin era, the dark period of the 70s, a little bit of the 80s, and I think a little bit of the 60s, built their bodies out of a pancake where it was mahogany, a walnut piece, and then more mahogany on the side because it gave it better sustain and awesomeness. In fact, it just was cheaper wood. The 70s are not bathing in the victories and wonderfulness of American supremacy at that time. It was the brown, corduroy, crappy stuff era. I came out of the 70s, so, I guess it's true on all levels. While we're talking about this, though, one thing they didn't do, like Big G did, is this is a chambered body, so it's definitely lighter. It's got probably on the 60s side of the neck, it's a pretty slim neck, 24 3/4 inch scale. Has the two pickups are actually, I believe they're called U1000s, and they were the Japanese first real attempt, it's claimed anyway, at a PIF style pickup. And they're really cool. Because this thing is chambered and because of some of the minor differences, this actually has a little bit different character than your classic big heavy plunk Les Paul. Which means you can get kind of some like cleanerish stuff out of it that might even resonate as well. So it's kind of a little quacky, a little honky, but it's not quite as aggressive as, say, a modern Gibson Les Paul. Potentially, maybe they're more 50s in character. Couldn't really tell you. But you can still goose it into some great Les Paulish. So she still can get to where you want to go with Les Paul. A couple interesting things to note, and I'll step in close for this, is that the inlays have no character. Mother of Pearl kind of has that wigglies and wobblies and catches the light. These are just straight up, pretty much shiny silver, not quite mirror inlays. This also has a Japanese take on the Fretless Wonder frets. They're really quite low though, and I feel like I can abuse them more on my actual 70s Gibson Les Paul than I can on this guy. I feel like she doesn't, it's not like having tall frets on it. So it's been a bit of an adjustment to play this in some ways. But take a look. Being a 77, this guy has its battle scars, which I think is kind of cool because it means I don't really worry about keeping it on my kids as much. There's your nice Greco logo. That familiar shape of the headstock and truss rod cover that I'm sure somebody at the Big G got upset with. These, I believe, are Greco labeled tuners, and actually they work quite well. They've got like the Grover style ends on them. Serial number G77 means it's a 1977. somewhat sort of translucent brown, but a lot of that's faded out. And just a little bit of flame at the edges of the top, but you can't really make it out. Uncovered. These are almost always a black in the neck and a white in the bridge, and I think it was so that the guy in the factory could figure out which one to put there more. And your classic Gibson 2-volume, 2-tone with your little indicator guides you see there that you see on some of the nicer give you that deals. So, bridge, it's kind of like the USA style, so it's a dot, it's not a screw head. And there's no retaining string. So, that's that. But, this is the beginning of the badness. Because what happened is around the same time, Ibanez started doing the same thing. Which, when you're on the islands of Japan, wasn't the biggest of deal. But then they had the temerity, the tenacity, the evilness to start sending them to the US. And that started Gibson suing people and shapes changing and all that kind of stuff. And in fact, it continues to today with some of the other models that are out there. This guy, though, you know, is now a history piece, right? It's not the best Les Paul in the world. It's not the best appointed. They made some other models in that same era. The 700, 800, 900, I think even an EG-1000. And some of those had car flame tops. They had the fret end nibs. They had all those kind of things that made it a lot closer to the 50s style Les Paul. And this was a very interesting thing because in the 70s, with a couple rare exceptions, Gibson wasn't making like a 50s reissue style Les Paul, like a Les Paul similar to the standard today. They were making pancake body, 3-piece maple tops, not flame tops, out of their Les Pauls, and things had just dipped. And that was pretty much in the Les Paul standard range, that was reality. In fact, they sold, I think, a lot more deluxes than standards, which had mini humbuckers. Because I think they thought they were trying to compete with a Strat and the humbuckers were too big or something. I have no idea. But many of those deluxes have been converted to standards since. When you go in the used market, that's all you see. What I'm getting to is the Japanese market actually started to address a gap that Gibson wasn't doing, which was making a quality book-matched flame top standard like those beautiful ones in the 70s that all their guitar heroes were playing. So there's a little lesson there, which is if you don't treat your customers right and give them what they want, somebody else will. Anywho, we'll do a little bit of noodling on it. Just for notes, coming out of a Plex Dragonfly, coming out of a Fez Dragonfly, out of like the Fender Black Facey clean channel, using a Polytune 2 mini tuner, MXR Custom Badass 78 distortion overdrive distortion pedal, using a Electro-Harmonix Soul Food. Electro-Harmonix is what it is, Harmonix. Soul Food for a little bit of the boosty drive. Simple little mini Hall of Fame reverb from TC Electronic. And Oral Dreams Breath Delay from Oral Dreams, which is a weird company out of China. But this is a killer little pedal. So I'll give you a little bit of something on each kind of channel there. So from a clean perspective, switch it up. with a little soul food action, and you can tune your amp too to get kind of those same kind of things. It's not the pedal doing so much there, it's just bringing things up to a certain level. So that's that. A little bit more on the dirty stuff. There's the MXR pedal again. Go back to the bridge. And then up to the neck. Push it on the top. She gets properly filthy. The neck's actually, action's really low, neck's nice and straight. I mean, I think after 77 years, it's settled into what it's going to be. And that's why I dig it. So, this is the Greco EG-500. Cool bit of history, cool guitar. Check them out. I get this one for $5 and change, I think, including shipping. I got it from Japan. And with the dollar versus the yen ratio the last year or so, year or two, we've been able to buy stuff from Japan a little bit cheaper. A dollar's worth more there, which means you can go and poach cool guitars like this. Right now, the dollar, if you're in the US, is really strong against the pound. So look for UK sellers on eBay and stuff, and you may be able to find a good deal because their currency has a self-inflicted gunshot wound from the whole Brexit stuff. So, anywho, that's my little random pieces of advice. I've been Nick in the States. Obviously, I have issues. Thanks for letting me share with you. Take care now.